Just starting.
Welcome to the Holistic Kitchen. My name is Abe.
My name is Abdullah.
And my name is Imran. So we're the Holistic Kitchen as we are tips from the inside out.
So, 1 in 6 youth in the U.S. are obese. A troubling new study in the Lancet reported that the incidence of diabetes type 1 and type 2 are continuing to increase in children and young adults. Another recent study collected data from 14 countries and included thousands of children and adolescents in its its analysis and found a 10-year increase in the prevalence of eczema and severe eczema, um, meaning that more kids are suffering from eczema. Also, pediatric science is the leading cause of death by disease past infancy among children from birth to age 14 in the U.S. The U.S. So the CDC also reports nearly 35% of children suffer from, say, from some type of allergy. And the new autism statistics are also crazy, with 1 in 36 children that have autism, and what that is up from 1 in 44 in 2018 and 150 in 2000. So it's just growing and growing, and soon it'll just get to the point where like what 1 in even 3 will have autism if we don't do something about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think
that's crazy. Yeah. Why isn't this a national emergency?
It's a great question. Why isn't this a national emergency? Why are we losing focus as a nation? And you're right, but what we do with our children and what we provide for them is going to make all the difference in terms of how healthy we are as a nation, how successful we are as a nation, and as a world. It is something we really need to be focusing on and saying, okay, we've got to get a handle on this. Unfortunately, it's a combination of things we think that's really influencing and causing this big spike. Things from all of the antibiotic use we've had over the last 50, 60, 70 years. And not just that individual antibiotic use from like the doctor-patient relationship, right? Somebody comes in and we know we were giving kids and adults too many antibiotics for too many years. And that resulted in a shift in the microbiome. But in addition to that, we were using and we still are using way too many antibiotics in our whole food system, right? So what we're giving to our cows and what we're giving to, in feed and animals. We've overused antibiotics, which has shifted our microbiome, which is unfortunately having a tremendous impact on our overall health and our risk for allergies, eczema, and autism even. And I think the other really big player here is toxins. And we are just dumping more and more chemicals into the environment. I think they say in the US, over 95,000 chemicals, and both industrial and agricultural chemicals are being used and have been approved for use, but very few of them have been adequately studied. And as a result, we're really impacting everything from the gut microbiome, because we know that chemicals, even like glyphosate, herbicides, can impact our gut microbiome, to those endocrine disrupting chemicals that are impacting us. So there's so many chemicals in the environment. I think the two major reasons we're seeing such a shift in terms of these chronic diseases in our kids, and everybody for that matter, though, is really the shift in our microbiome and all the chemicals that we've been using without proper and adequate evaluation.
Yeah, and that's why it's so important that we start making a difference now, and that we start changing our diet and how food is created, and get back to natural.
100%.
We forgot to give our audiences a proper introduction for you. So this with us today is Dr. Elizabeth Boham, who is a board certified in family medicine, and is also one of the top functional medicine practitioners in the world. She has also had a degree in nutritional biochemistry. Dr. Boham joined Dr. Mike Hyman and the UltraWellness Center team in 2007 and is currently the medical director at the UltraWellness Center. Dr. Boham learned how difficult it can be to navigate through the healthcare system after being diagnosed with cancer at the age of 30. She is also an educator for the Institute of Functional Medicine and has contributed to many articles and even wrote a chapter on the functional medicine approach for diabetes, obesity, for the ninth edition of the Rankel textbook of family medicine. And Dr. Boham has also been featured on shows like the Dr. Oz and also a variety of magazines, books, and other media. She is a regular guest on the Doctor's Pharmacy, which is a podcast that we love to listen to with our mom, because our mom really is obsessed with that podcast. So thank you so much, Dr. Boham. We are so honored for you to join us today.
Oh, it's my honor and privilege to be with you all. So thank you.
Well, it's our pleasure.
Our pleasure. So, Dr. Boham, you work in one of the top functional medicine practices in the world. So you see a lot of people who are not getting better. So where do you start with these kids to help them feel better?
Oh, yes. So we always start with food. You know, when people come in to see us, this is true with many, many different functional medicine practices, but at our practice, when somebody comes in to see us, they see the physician, but they also see a nutritionist. And the thing we do first and foremost is we say food first approach. So, of course, it depends on what's going on with that person. You gather a really good history. You figure out where there may be imbalances for that individual person. But food is so powerful and often so helpful at reversing issues that people are having. So, you know, we'll take a good history and then we say, okay, let's try a shift in food and your intake. And so the first thing we really focus on with a food first approach is we work to clean up the diet. So, you know, get rid of all these processed foods, things that have additives in them, you know, food coloring, other additives that we don't even know how much they might be impacting a person. And really work to clean up the diet. So pulling out things that you know that are highly processed, added sugars, added chemicals in them. Go back to whole foods, real foods. And then the second thing we really focus on is balancing blood sugar, because that makes a huge difference in terms of how people feel. When you make sure that at each meal, I'm sure you guys do this, but at each meal, you make sure you've got something that's really rich in protein, right? So whether it's animal proteins like meat or fish or eggs, or it's vegetable proteins like beans and legumes and nuts, you make sure that every meal has a good source of protein and then it has a good source of healthy fats. So those healthy fats might be what's coming in your nuts or butter or ghee or olive oil or avocado, right? So good source of fat and then lots of fiber. Fiber is going to be in your vegetables, your nuts, your seeds, your ground flax seed, you know, all of your vegetables, fruits, beans and legumes, nuts and seeds. And so at every meal, you want to look at your plate and say, okay, do I have a good source of protein? Do I have a good source of fiber? And do I have a good source of healthy fat? And that really helps with balancing blood sugar. So that what happens when you eat a meal that's nice and balanced like that from whole foods is that you just feel better. You don't get highs and lows in blood sugar. You don't crash. You don't get cranky and tired, and you just feel better. You can interact more with others. You feel happier, and so that's where we start. And then after that, we may do some other manipulations with somebody's diet, depending on what they have going on. We might pull away a food, do like a partial elimination diet. But so often when we just clean up the diet and get more nutrient dense foods that are rich in all of the vitamins and minerals that the body needs for overall health, and we balance the blood sugar, that people just feel better, kids feel better right away. And so that's where we always start.
Wow, you are so inspirational.
So inspirational.
And I loved how you said that you guys, when they first come into the office, you look at the food first, because a lot of doctors, they only focus on like sugar intake, and really that's all. But when you go into what the patients are eating, that makes a huge difference, because as you know, we're all about what you eat and um, the quality of the food.
So
Also,
true. It's important to say, okay, you want to decrease sugar intake and carbohydrate intake, like refined carbohydrate intake, but you also want to talk about the food you want to eat more of. Because when you eat more of these healthy foods, then you're less likely to eat some of the what we call junk food, right? And so
yeah.
it's important to talk about what you want these people want, what you want your patients to eat, as well as what you don't want them to not eat.
Also, another thing is that when you eat like candy and sugar and all of these processed foods, usually they taste good, but after you might have like a stomach ache or a headache, you might feel
Yeah.
really tired. Compared to like nutritional food, food that will really help your body. Like even though we have fruit, we make smoothies out of vegetables, and it might not be that tasty to drink, but I always do feel a lot better after drinking them, and it gives me that energy I need for the rest of the day. So that's why it's always important to remember that even though it might not taste good, it'll really change how your mood and how your body feels.
And your tastes change, over
Yeah.
time your tastes change and you get used to different things. I think one of the things we realized is that the food industry has shifted our taste buds, and they've really focused on producing food that we are addicted to or really want to eat. And so foods that are not good for us, and have a taste in a way that makes us crave them more and more. And so unfortunately that's shifted a lot of people's taste buds. And so sometimes it takes a while to get back to enjoying the taste of real foods, but you do, and your tastes change.
So I think earlier we talked. I mentioned ultra processed foods. What is that exactly, and what's the difference between that and like the regular processed foods that we find in the supermarket?
Absolutely. Just you want to pay attention to number of ingredients, right? Well,
Mhm.
first of all, the first thing you want to do is have more of your foods be foods that don't even have labels on them, right? So, the vegetable that was picked from the garden, or the
Yeah.
fruit that was, a whole fruit, or a whole piece of chicken, right? Real food that doesn't even bother to have a label on it. There's going to be times that you may have a food that's been processed in some sort, or is in a can, or is frozen in a bag, but the lower amount of ingredients the better. And you'll notice when you start to look at labels, then when you start to look at labels, you'll see the more ingredients the food has, that's the ones you want to stay away from, because they may have more and more additives and things in it. So always look for the simplest processed food that you can when you are choosing things that has labels on it.
Yeah, and that's why now 67% of calories consumed by children and adolescents in 2018 actually came from ultra processed foods. And that really explains why the decline of the health in children, and how now it's
Yeah.
kind of normal to have an allergy, or it's normal to have eczema, asthma, or any kind of disease. Right, which is why it's really sad when people are like, oh, it's normal, I'm like, no, but you can change that, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. We need to get back to feeding the gut what it needs to be healthy, right? And so that's like a lot of fiber rich foods, as we talked about, whole foods that are naturally rich in fiber, like the nuts and the seeds and the vegetables and the fruits. They're naturally just rich in fiber. They're going to feed the good bugs in our gut. We want to, avoid antibiotics unless we absolutely need them. And we want to choose our meats that are organic, so they don't have antibiotics added to them. All of those things will help improve the health of our microbiome in our gut, which will over time make us less sensitive to foods and less reactive to foods, and just overall more healthy.
Yes. That's, I mean, awesome.
Yeah, like we said, you're so amazing. And so, how would someone be able to change or get better when even if they've tried everything? A lot of people say, I've tried everything, nothing's getting better. Is there specific things that work for different people, and what are those kind of things?
Yeah. So, we always, we started with, okay, we start with food first, but then we really focus on the personalized lifestyle factors. This is the base of the matrix in functional medicine, which is what we call the base of your health, right? The basics in your health. So we always start with things like, okay, is that person getting enough sleep? Sleep's so important, but it's even more for everybody, but it's even more important for kids, because you're growing and you need even more sleep, right? So do you guys you need probably, I'm just looking at your ages here, somewhere between like 10 and 13 hours of sleep a night, right? To get to grow and to be healthy. So you need a lot of sleep. And that's where we're shortchanging a lot of people. So sleep's really important because the body heals during sleep. We make sure that we're getting outside every day. We make sure our patients are getting outside every day, getting good exercise and movement, building strong muscle to help their metabolism work well, and getting good, we talked about food, healthy food sources, doing things to manage stress, getting out in nature and having good community and socialization. All of those things really help with optimal health and well-being. And when that is not enough, right? So if people have worked on their lifestyle factors and it's not enough, the things that we need to work on even more, where we say, okay, there's something out of balance that we need to figure out and remove to help the body heal. The things that I find are the biggest issues are either some sort of dysbiosis or infection in the body, or dysbiosis or imbalance in the microbes in the gut or the body, or the toxin levels in the body. So those are the two things that I find, if those are out of whack, we have to do extra work to help remove some of these imbalances or remove some of these excess toxins.
Yeah, and you mentioned everything that we always mention on probably every single episode, right?
Yeah.
Sleep, exercise, food, and stress management. The four main things that we always talk about every single episode that we realize are the keys to really living a nutritional and healthy life.
It's because it's amazing. The body. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I cut you off? The body has this tremendous ability to heal, right? The body really knows how to heal if we take away things that are in its way. And so often those basics make a huge difference for people.
So let's talk about toxification.
So a lot of times, something that we don't usually mention is toxins. And because what exactly are toxins, and toxins and heavy metals, and why are they so bad for you? I mean, we're basically living in a world full of toxins. So what is the best way to detox from them, and heal from toxins, and really, because toxins? So what are toxins? Oh, I think she's froze.
Did we freeze it?
Yeah, you're still really you still can't really hear you.
You're very laggy, so it's kind
So.
Oh, I know.
Okay, while we wait for our guest to get back, If you guys have any questions, you guys can also put them in the chat, and we will try our best to answer them and ask the speaker as well.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh my god, I think.
Yes.
Yes. Now we can hear you. You're.
I'm back, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know
So,
why.
yeah,
Is it crackling? Is it making noise on your side? Is it going crackly on your side?
Yeah, a little
crackly,
bit,
and
but it's not too bad.
Okay, let me try this. Okay.
Yeah, it's still laggy, really laggy.
Okay. Am I there?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're back there again now.
Okay.
So
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so toxins. So
Yeah.
here's the thing. Here's the thing with toxins. So there's a lot of different toxins out there, from things like heavy metals, lead and mercury, to things like plastics, BPA, parabens, phthalates. Those are endocrine disruptors, to things like glyphosate, herbicides, pesticides. There's a lot of different toxins out there in the world, like we started talking about earlier. There's two things to think about with toxins. One is to work to lower your toxic load. And so that just means that sometimes it gets overwhelming and we can't avoid every single toxin out there, but we do our best. So we work to avoid, plastic reusable water bottles, right? We want to keep our water in glass or stainless steel. We want to drink out of glass or stainless steel. We want to store our food in glass, right? So we think about, okay, ways we can lower a toxic load. We might check our home for lead, make sure that there's not a lot of lead in our house, right? So those are ways that we can lower the amount of toxins we're exposed to. At the same time, we work to support our body's natural detoxification process. Our body is set up to get rid of toxins that we are exposed to. We do this in all sorts of different ways. Some of the ways we detoxify are through sweating. When you exercise and you sweat, you are releasing toxins, right? When you pee, drink sufficient water and you're peeing and you're urinating, you are releasing toxins. When you poop, every time you have a bowel movement and you poop, that's a way that we release toxins. So the more fiber we eat, that helps us, that the fiber binds the toxins in the gut and you poop it out, right? So, having lots of fiber helps with that as well. We also have this process in our body called the lymphatic system that is a way that we get rid of toxins. And exercise and movement helps that lymphatic system work better. We also have a liver. We have a liver that helps our body to get rid of toxins too. So we have all these systems in place to naturally detoxify from these toxins we're exposed to. We want to both avoid too many toxins, but we want to support these natural detoxification processes by exercise, drinking a lot of water, pooping regularly, eating a lot of fiber, and having a good whole foods healthy diet. Because when you eat enough of the right foods, when you eat enough protein and foods that are rich in vitamins and minerals, you actually help support the body's natural detoxification process. And when you eat a junk food diet, right, when you eat a diet that is devoid of all of these great minerals and vitamins, when you have a diet that's really processed and doesn't have enough vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, protein in it, then what happens is you don't detoxify as well. So there's a lot you can do to help the body lower the amount of toxins it's exposed to.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that you brought up the point that our body is actually built to detoxify ourselves. But most people forget that, and they're like, oh, you have to help our body because all these chemicals, they're really, our body can't really handle them. And it's like, if we give our bodies the right circumstances, if we sleep enough, you know, then our body will be able to take care of it and start to fix it, everything by itself.
Yeah, and I saw you guys on Instagram. You just had a wonderful post about all of the things that you can do to lower your toxic exposure. You know, simple changes you can make that lowers your exposure to toxins every day. Phenomenal.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
That's why we love to go out and figure out all of these different kind of methods to really improve our health and improve our just like entire body overall.
Yeah.
So this was amazing. Are there lab tests parents can get done for their kids to see? To see what their child's deficiencies are?
Right. So did you ask, I just want to make sure I got the question right. You asked are there lab tests that a parent can ask to look for nutritional deficiencies?
Yes.
Okay. So there's a bunch of different lab tests you can ask your doctor to run that can give you a sense of your child's level of nutritional deficiencies. The first thing I check on every kid is their iron profile. So iron levels are really, really important for normal brain development, normal development of all sorts of aspects of the health. So you want to ask your doctor to do a full iron panel. That includes ferritin and iron saturation. And it's really important for kids because kids are growing, so they need more iron than even adults need. And so it's an area we see deficiency pretty easily. So full iron panel is my number one for kids. Then I would say ask your doctor to check a 25 hydroxy vitamin D. So a vitamin D level is a really good one to check. And they can do that with every blood test. Vitamin A, you can check vitamin A as well. Vitamin A is really important for your immune system and your vision and your skin to heal. You know, I often check a serum zinc and copper level. So you can check some mineral levels like serum zinc and copper. And that gives us some understanding of those mineral levels. And a good test also to do is an omega-3 level. It's called an omega quant. And that can be done with a lot of basic labs as well now. And that can give a sense of, is your child getting enough omega-3 fats? Because omega-3 fats are really important for brain development and they're anti-inflammatory. And that's another area we see a lot of deficiencies. So you can ask your doctor to check omega-3 levels as well.
Yeah, remember that it's so important to not just look at the food, but also if there are toxins and certain heavy metals that are really affecting your child, because that can make an entire different world of difference. Also, something that we like, you can also take supplements, right? We recommend like magnesium, fish oil, and glutathione, right? Is that right?
I love
any supplements you also recommend?
Glutathione's like my favorite supplement.
Yeah, we love it as well.
Yeah. I love it. It really helps the immune system. It helps the body detoxify. And you can take it in a liposomal form, which just means it gets absorbed through the cheek or through the intestinal lining. And so there's really good forms of glutathione that you can give your child, and that can be helpful to help their immune system or to help with detoxification. You can also give the things that are precursors to glutathione, things like NAC and sulforaphane. Those both help the body make glutathione, and so they may be helpful as well. And if you're not sure about dosages or that sort of thing, check with your local doctor.
Yeah, and also if you don't want to do supplements, another great form of medicine is sauerkraut. We love sauerkraut.
Fermented foods are very good for your body.
Yeah. Whenever we're feeling bad, we'll always like to take some and we'll feel so much better after, right?
Yeah, I agree. Sauerkraut's wonderful. And it's fermented food. So all these fermented foods help replace the good bacteria in the digestive system. And we were talking earlier about how when they get out of balance, we're seeing so much more allergy and eczema and asthma. So fermented foods like sauerkraut, kimchi, yogurts, really wonderful and helpful for the microbiome.
We also love broccoli sprouts for sulforaphane. My mom throws in everywhere.
Yeah, every single smoothie, every single salad, even in pasta, should put
Yeah,
broccoli
so much
stuff.
broccoli stuff.
Yeah,
She even grows it at home.
Yeah.
sprouts are so wonderful. They're such a rich source of sulforaphane. They're really, really high in sulforaphane. They are the little sprouts that that are before the broccoli becomes that big broccoli, and they're really, really high in sulforaphane. So broccoli sprouts are wonderful. You can grow them yourself. You can also buy them at a store, but it's really easy to grow on your own, and they are wonderful healthy food source. And you're right, you can put them into smoothies, you can sprinkle them on a salad. Really a wonderful addition.
So this is amazing. What is one thing that kids can do today to optimize their health?
What is one thing that
Kids can do today to optimize their health?
day to optimize their health? I would say the one thing that we put at the top of my list is eat the rainbow. So that really, right? That's my number one.
That's not like one. That's like thing. We love eating the rainbow.
Eating the rainbow, right? Natural foods that naturally have the color in them, not like artificial colors, right?
Yeah. A natural color.
Natural colors. So you want to have something that's red every day, something that's orange, something that's yellow, something that's green, blue, purple, white, and tan. And you want to have something from every color of the rainbow every day. And so, for kids, we say, try to get something from every color of the rainbow every day. It's a really fun thing to try to do, and to look at your plates, look at your meals during the day. Did I eat from the whole rainbow? And maybe like red peppers or tomatoes for red, or squash or carrots for orange. Let's think, what's a yellow one? Yellow peppers, or like a squash for yellow, mushrooms for white, or onions. Of course, we've got spinach and the broccoli sprouts for our green, and blueberries, or purple, blue, and so you want to try to eat from every color of the rainbow every day. Something from every color every day.
Where can people learn more about you and your work?
So they can go, I have a website, drboham.com. I also work at the UltraWellness Center. So we have a website, the ultrawellnesscenter.com. And on Instagram, I'm Elizabeth Boham, MD. I'm same thing on Facebook. And all those places.
Yes. So remember to go check her out, because she's so informational and she's so inspirational. So you can really learn a lot from her.
So that was so empowering. Everyone, make sure to follow Dr. Boham on social media. She is such an inspiration to all of us. Thank you so much, Dr. Boham. We know you're so busy, so this is such a huge honor.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun. And keep up the good. I'm so excited with your podcast. It's really changing the world. So thank you.
Well, it's our pleasure.
Our pleasure. So let's recap Dr. Boham's key points.
2 major reasons that we have shifts in our microbiome, and all the toxins are leading to us kids getting sicker and sicker. Dr. Boham always starts with food. She works with a food-first approach after a detailed history. She gets rid of chemicals in your food. Focus on real food at each meal. Get protein, lots of veggies and fiber, and also healthy fats that can really help to balance your blood sugar. Remember, making all these differences to your diet will really, really make a big difference. Also, ask yourself every day if you got all the colors of the rainbow in vegetables and protein, vegetables and fruits, because not any of that, artificial colors and like Skittles and stuff. No, that doesn't count. That's actually bad for you.
Yeah, that's bad. That's the opposite.
Yeah.
So ask yourself if you got all the colors every day. The food industry has manipulated our taste buds, so it's really important for us to eat real food. Pay attention to the number of ingredients. Most of your foods should have no label on them. The lower amount of ingredients are better. So look for the most simplest one.
Also, focus on a personalized lifestyle factors. Are you getting enough sleep? Have you gotten enough exercise? Because good movement and managing stress are really, really beneficial as well, besides food. Then, if your lifestyle factors are not enough, then look for what's out of balance. Dr. Boham noticed that toxins and imbalanced gut bugs can really make a big difference in your health, even if you live a healthy diet. So remember to always look for lead or other chemicals, and to always lower the amount of plastic. We like to store our food in glass.
Support your body's natural detox process. Sweating, peeing when you poop. The more fiber you eat can help the bind toxins and get rid of these toxins. Exercise and movement helps to detoxify. And we love to do our Epsom salt bath.
Yeah, it's so important. Also, lab tests can help know more about your body, and iron is really needed for brain development. So get a full iron panel, vitamin D level, vitamin A, serum, zinc, and copper levels, and other good tests to check for your omega-3 levels, just to make sure that everything is balanced.
So remember, prevention is the key. Dr. Boham's tips will help to prevent and improve your health today. So please check her out. Thank you so much again, Dr. Boham.
Thank you so much for having me. Great job, you guys.
So thank you guys again for tuning in. Until next time, I'm Zansari.
I'm Abdullah.
And I'm Nav. Follow Juliana on social media, Holistic Mom Tea, and look out for Mom Holistic. She has written a lot of them. Also, Kids Need to Power Kids.
So remember to check out the new books that we have, because we really put a lot of effort into them, and we think they're pretty good, right?
Yeah, and they can really help you. So
remember to join us next week.
Next episode for another episode on the Holistic Kids Show, where kids are proud kids. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.